Angie.
Angie, thank you very much for taking the time to share your personal story of having to dwell in your car. As you know, here in LA at least, there's more people sleeping dwelling in their automobiles, RVs, cars, than in shelters.
Right.
A lot of reasons for that. But 40% of all the people who are in their cars are women of all kind of ages, races, sexes. Some have children, little children, older children. These women are grandparents, our parents, our mothers, our aunts, nieces, sisters, cousins. And they're not known. No one knows about them because they're running for obvious reasons. We want people to know about them, and you want people to know about this so we can raise some consciousness. So I thank you. We thank you for willing to share with us.
Well, I thank you for raising awareness to this. It's something that means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to other people. Means a lot to even the locals who are complaining about them,
Yes.
you know, because hopefully we can get some kind of resolution to help everybody in this.
You say that you were dwelling in your car for a while,
Yes.
and can you say where it was?
It
Not
was.
to say the town. I mean, it's the city, but you have to say exact location.
I stayed in my car between Marina Del Rey and Venice. A lot of the time I spent in Marina Del Rey, and then when things became too unsafe in Marina Del Rey, I relocated to Venice.
How long had you been in your car?
Altogether from May until November, so about 6 months.
You know, men who are homeless on the sidewalk or wherever, or in their automobiles, when it comes to hygiene and having to eliminate bodily waste, you know, dudes, we could just hang it out the window or whatever, right?
Right.
How difficult was it for you as a woman, as a female, with dealing with those issues of sanitation, cleanliness, and all of those health issues?
It was difficult.
How difficult?
It was difficult in every sense that a human can feel. It was emotionally difficult because when I was able to find somewhere that I felt like was safe for me to use the bathroom at, because I didn't have access to public bathrooms, there was that mental torture of, you know, there's crazy things happening all around me. Am I even safe to use the bathroom for this 30-second period? You know, am I too vulnerable by using the bathroom in public?
You alone?
Know? Absolutely. And
you know, they say that when women become homeless, they get raped behind that very point, that men will follow them to where they have to go and then they attack them. And so you had that real legitimate fear going on, huh?
Right. There was the whole reason I left staying in Marina Del Rey was there was a night that I woke up to, and I thought I was safe because where I was at, the kind of the area that I was parking my car and sleeping in, and I was locking my doors every night. I was in an area where there was this one main homeless man who kind of ran the block, and he knew me really well. He looked out for me. You know, I kind of like bought him like a beer or cigarettes or whatever here and there before I became homeless. So he
knew who you were. He had a relationship.
Right. And one night apparently he had gotten really high and took off. And when he took off, that left me vulnerable. I didn't know that. I guess I had left the passenger door of my car unlocked. I don't know how I did that, but it was unlocked. And I woke up in the middle of the night to one of the other homeless men there crawling into my car.
Get out.
And this man was a good 150 plus pounds more than me.
Wow.
And that was not something I'll ever forget. And I had to get out.
You would think Marina Del Rey is a very upscale, therefore quiet, peaceful, non-criminal neighborhood.
I learned very quickly living there that Marina Del Rey has very dark parts of it.
Really?
very dark parts of it.
Even more dark in Venice or Santa Monica?
Now, see, Venice wears it on its sleeve. Venice, that's the thing that really was
like
different between Marina Del Rey and Venice was.
We don't pretend.
Venice, no, that was right there in front of your eyes. Marina Del Rey, because of that initial, you know, kind of stereotype that it is this just upscale, really lovely place. There's a lot of luxury apartments, you know, and all of this. It's not always that case.
You said you came across a lady who was there, and her was on the sidewalk, but you brought her to your car.
Yes.
So you had enough about your decency about yourself to share your limited space with someone else. Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't have anything, but I was grateful for what little I did have, you know, and what little I did have was more than what I needed. I didn't need the front seat, you know. I'm 5'2" on a good day, you know, and I didn't need much.
But how did you eat?
Different ways. I mean, In-N-Out was right there. In-N-Out's $4 for a burger, you know. Some days I didn't eat.
You didn't? Is that because you didn't have a desire to, or you just didn't have the finances to eat?
I didn't have the finances to eat.
How did you get finances when you had finances?
I would ask loved ones for a loan.
Friends?
And yeah, when I was living in my car, my family was very aware of it. They kept wanting me to go back to Texas, but I knew.
How did your family hear about you being homeless like that in your car?
Because I told them.
You told them.
Yes.
So, because there's a lot of women or people don't want their families to know that they're in that, which is understandable. But you have a relationship enough with your family that you could at least let them know the condition that you're in.
I didn't even want to let them know, but I knew I had to.
Why?
I didn't have anybody here.
Okay.
And I knew if something happened to me,
they'd be very upset with you for you not telling them.
Right.
Got it.
And if suddenly they couldn't reach me, you know, they needed to know that it wasn't that, you know, I was just ignoring them if they couldn't reach me. I was living in a car. Like, I wanted them to, for me, it was a safety net. My family knowing, okay, this, even though I'm making this conscious choice to do this, they kept begging me to come back, but there was something in me saying, if you just keep going, if you keep trying, you're gonna make it. You will make it. Don't give up. And my brain kept telling me if I gave up and went back to Texas, you know, and just went and lived with my parents again, or, you know, whatever, I would end up in the same situation because I wasn't fixing the problem. I wasn't.
You were on a journey.
Right.
And you've been on a journey, and you're still on that journey.
Absolutely.
What was your mental state like while you were in the car? What was your emotions like?
A mess. It was a mess.
What do
I
you mean,
doubted
like,
myself. I didn't think I was worthy of having anything more than living in my car. I cried more than I can ever put into words how much I cried. Like, I was scared day in and day out, but there was a certain level of freedom to it. That even as scary as it was, as emotionally turmoil of an environment I had been creating, it was freedom.
Freedom.
I didn't have to worry about, like, I couldn't even feed myself. I'm very much so was not capable of maintaining bills. And so within not having those bills, I had that freedom. I had, at that point in time, it seemed like I had less worries because I had no bills.
Freedom.
Right.
I'm hearing that a lot from various homeless folks, that despite the condition they're in, the weather, whatever, freedom. That's a human thing that God has put in all of us. The United States Declaration of Independence talks about that. Freedom, God-given freedom. Do you believe in God?
I do.
Did you believe in God while you were in that condition?
I didn't have strong faith, but I believed in Him. I believed something was there. It wasn't until I got on the other side of everything that I really grounded my faith and really realized, no, God is real.
That intelligence was looking out after you.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. I wouldn't have survived the things I've survived if it weren't for him. I wouldn't have the mentality that I have if it weren't for him. Like, I wouldn't be able to look at this cactus and know, okay, that's going to poke me if I push my finger into it, but still be able to see its beauty no matter knowing that it's going to hurt me. I can still see its beauty. I can still admire it. That is God. That is...
So, what was the most scariest...
Stop smiling.
That's a good smile, beautiful
Right.
smile. What was the scariest moment you had out there?
The day that I woke up and that man was climbing into my car.
That was the scary one.
That was hands down the scariest, because it wasn't just him. There were several people around my car banging on it.
Oh, stop it.
And he was the one that got in.
How'd you get him away? How'd you get away?
I didn't.
What happened?
He raped me. He fully took advantage of a woman living in her car. And
the other guys
didn't do anything. Didn't do anything. They were almost, it was like they were cheering him on. And that was the night that I immediately took off to Venice, and thank God they had those public showers outside, because I just stood under one of those showers for what seemed like an eternity. You know, I didn't have a safe place to go other than what was my safe place. That was no longer a safe place to me anymore. And at that point, I was already working for this shop on the boardwalk. I was just not the manager yet. And I remember begging my boss, let me sleep behind the shop in my car, please. Like, and I remember pulling him aside and I was like, look, I don't want to talk about it, but there is horrible things happening around that I feel like I would at least be kind of safe here behind the shop. You know, it was a really small little enclosed spot, and he let me stay there. And I appreciated that so much, because it really did keep me safe. And you know, that was the difference between Venice and Marina del Rey. I knew what it was in Venice, and it was able to keep me safe.
So this gentleman provided for you a safe space, basically. At one point you said, I believe off camera, we were discussing the matters, you had your son with you at some point?
Yes.
When was this?
I only had him with me for about a month and a half in the car tops.
He was in the car with you?
Yes.
How was that?
You know, I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of anything.
How old was your son?
He was almost 10.
He was almost 10.
Yes. And he was wonderful. You know, he understood that I was doing my best. You know, he couldn't understand why we were where we were, but he understood I was trying. And
he was not in school, obviously not.
At that point, it was summertime, so no, he wasn't.
Okay.
But whenever
did you come across other children out there like him in the streets?
Not until I hit Venice.
Oh.
When I hit Venice, I met a family, 3 little girls, the mom and the dad. Wow. And they were living in a van, and she actually worked at a shop a couple doors down from me. And so her and I would talk every day, you know, and we would share resources with each other, that resources I knew were out there that she didn't, or resources she knew that were out there that, you know, I didn't. You know, over time we kind of all bonded. And
the gypsies.
Yeah. The last thing I actually heard from her was I had given her information regarding calling 211 and getting help through the county. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, they will, especially since you have babies, mm-hmm. they will take you guys and put y'all in a hotel. Mm-hmm. Just reach out. You have to do that little bit of work. They'll do every bit else, mm-hmm. okay? And she contacted them. They got into a hotel, and I have not seen her since. I have not seen her out in Venice. I have not.
That's all she needs.
Right.
Up, step up.
Right. And I've seen her stepdad since then, and he said that they're doing great. Wow. So I'm hoping that kind of stuck with them, and they were able to.
You mentioned hotel.
Yes.
Off and on, you would get a hotel room.
Yes.
Somewhere. How would you do that?
Sometimes I was able to do it through the county, like at the very beginning of me being homeless. Okay. Then I was in a program through the county. It was a homeless program. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they were giving me an allotment of $595 a week to put towards finding housing. Okay. Now I did have to provide receipts of the fact that I was spending that money on housing.
Yes.
But that gave me so much more wiggle room. By that point I was also working, so I was able to just, if I needed to throw in a little bit of money towards a hotel room, I would.
Off camera, you mentioned that your father worried about you. Your mom kind of, from the shock of you OD'd on some drugs.
Yes.
At one point, it shocked your mother. And I understand, I'm a parent too, and you're a parent as well. And your dad already was taking it hard, but he did not abandon you.
Right.
You demonstrated a concern for somebody else, and you brought them into your car to sleep with you in the space. And you have these qualities of not giving up and going forward. Is that a product of your family upbringing?
Yes. My mom she's stubborn kind of level, and so I picked that up. And my dad is a businessman, so he thinks things very logically, he thinks very rationally, and he kind of evaluates all of the consequences and probabilities before he makes a choice. And so for a long time I kind of dwelled in that stubborn, reckless side before I was able to combine the two into, okay, I don't have to be reckless, okay, I could still be stubborn, but for good things.
Exactly.
As opposed to the selfish things that I was kind of engaging and dwelling in. And
so you use that stubbornness, the tenaciousness, to keep you going on that journey, because you knew there was something up ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Stay with it, but don't go back. Stay with it. And your dad supported you in that. Now you also mentioned something about independence, that you were seemed like everybody was doing something. What do you mean by that?
So for a long time I was really sick, and within being sick I became totally, entirely, in every sense that you could possibly think of the word, dependent on everybody around me. Okay, whether it was helping me throughout my day because I was so sick, or financially providing for me because I was so sick, or whatever it was, you know, there was always something that I was needing from someone else.
You became addicted to that, or you didn't? What happened?
No, I became addicted to it. It created me to be lazy. And that's it's okay to be lazy at points. It's not okay to be lazy in life whenever I always had such high goals, but my procrastination and my laziness and my inability to look at myself thinking I was worthy of having what I wanted, I was never going to achieve those goals at that point.
You were very well spoken. What is your form of education?
I graduated a Texas Scholar. They just call it a Texas Scholar. It means you excelled, basically. I was also recognized as a young child for the Duke University Talent Search Program. I was involved in that. If I ever decide to go to Duke University, I have a partial scholarship that I can adhere to and utilize. I also took college courses, got a degree in business management.
Wow.
I was always that child that I felt like I needed someone to be proud of me, and I needed to excel in something, but I couldn't ever excel in one thing because I was so curious. I wanted to excel in everything. I wanted to learn everything. So
sponge.
I learned as much as I could. I regularly went to like science camps and all sorts of weird stuff because I could not get enough of what I was learning.
That's good to hear. All right, so as we round this out, all this going on here, and the illness and everything, and getting addicted to people supporting you, at some point you took a dip towards the streets. What was that turning point? What caused you to end up so low into your car?
My ex, he not only had a drug addiction, he had mental issues that were unresolved.
And somehow you found initially some sort of solace in him for your own. Got it. And then that led to a breakup eventually between you guys. And then you found yourself, how'd you get a car? Well, you had a car from Texas.
I had a car from Texas, yes.
Got it. And what was your, finally, as we round this out, what was your experience in Venice? Because from Venice, apparently, you went on to get a place.
Right.
Right? So what was, how'd that go down?
Venice was what I needed all along. Venice, it gave me a daily reminder seeing people living out in tents or out on the sidewalks or in the sand in Venice. Seeing that daily reminder of that's where I can end up if I don't continue going forward kept a fire inside of me that nobody could burn out.
That's amazing. That's a very interesting.
The high-paced energy of Venice, the fact that everything is go, 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 go from the moment you get up to the moment you fall asleep, kept me busy. So it kept my brain from wanting to reach out and go do dumb things that I used to do. And all of that was happening while I was going through therapy. So I was using all these external resources as well as what was going on inside of me, and I was plugging them together to push myself forward.
But yet you found a community in Venice.
Yes.
Of these same people you saw.
Yes.
Interesting. Very good. Now, okay, now you are what? Living in Venice? You have an apartment, a room, an Airbnb, you have a job?
I have my own apartment. I don't have a roommate. It is on Venice Beach.
On Venice Beach?
On Venice Beach, yes.
Go ahead.
And
front view window.
I pay a rent that I never in my life expected I would pay.
Wow.
You know, and I do it. And I, when I first started staying in the apartment, I literally didn't even have blankets. Okay, I had an air mattress and I had some towels from the shop that I ran. Sure. Big old beach towels, but I'm tiny, so they fit. They worked. I went with it, and I was like, it is, no matter what, it's still better than being on the street. There are people living on the streets that are older than me, that are in worse shape than me. I was doing good in my car.
Oh my God.
Why do I deserve this of everybody else? And then I finally realized you deserve it because you've worked for it. You deserve it because you got up and you did something about your situation and you conquered that fear and you put your faith in God and you knew no matter what you were doing, you were moving with God, so all was going to be well.
Speaking of God, did you have God conversations with other people out there?
Every now and again. There's one gentleman that he walks up and down the boardwalk daily. He carries a briefcase. He always wears a suit, and he very rarely talks to people. If he talks to you, he's talking about God to you. That's it. My old manager one day saw me speaking with this gentleman, and he was so angry when I was done. He's like, how did you get this man to talk to you? I've said hi to him every morning for weeks, and he didn't say hi back, but that wasn't for me. I was told to tell him good morning every morning and smile, and that's exactly what I did. And one day he stopped and he asked me if I believed in Jesus Christ, and we started talking. And we see each other all the time now, and when I see him, we hug, we share our little word, and he's even expressed to me that his whole purpose, he lives in his van so that he can be mobile and go wherever he is guided to preach the word of God.
Okay. So what you're telling us, while there is misery out there, down there, there's somehow a tranquility going on with you.
It is.
And in your life, in his life, and others, God seems to be the central anchor for your existence and understanding.
So even the smell of living in my car, I missed that when I first started staying in the apartment. And I don't mean that fermented urine smell on the sidewalks. I'm talking like my own scent.
Your culture.
Right. And I still to this day, I'll catch myself smelling my clothes trying to smell that smell again.
Oh, isn't it something?
And it's not that I ever want to go back to that. It's just that for
the
me.
Nostalgia.
For me, that was my pivotal moment in my life. And that is such an important, as hurtful and just tragic all of it was, it was so crucial to my growth. It was so crucial to sitting here now and saying this. It will always be one of the most important points in my life.
Like a crucible.
Yeah.
Into a crucible. You're employed now.
Yes.
And what are you doing?
Up until recently, I had only had one job since the overdose and everything. My life started changing, and it was a shop on the boardwalk. I started off as just a homeless girl that was detoxing. I made my way up to managing the company, running the shop up until we closed the doors.
Wow.
And now I work for a movie production company.
Wow.
And I get to work alongside with people I never imagined I would ever meet in my life.
Wow.
People I've watched growing up, people I have just been enthralled over.
Celebrity.
Yes.
That's something.
And it all started because after the overdose, I began going to AA. And AA opened the doors up for all these fantastic relationships. And now I can't say names because of
course not. Don't do that.
The anonymity of it, but there was this one particular celebrity that I've grown up watching.
Wow.
Okay.
Isn't that something?
So funny. He just always had me laughing.
Wow.
And growing up, my dad watched a lot of Saturday Night Live. So, you know, I watched a lot of Saturday Night Live. I grew up with a very quirky sense of humor because of it. And my 1-year anniversary date of my sobriety, I took a cake at AA. And I'm standing in front of everybody and I'm so nervous. Okay, I had not spoken in front of anybody at AA yet. I'd spoken to people on the sidelines, but never in front of the group. And they asked me, how did you do it? You're a year sober, how did you do it? I still to this day don't know what I said, but I said something and it was diarrhea of the mouth. And apparently it was so funny that they all approached me after the meeting and they're like, we have to hear more. All you said to us was, a year ago you were dead in your car. And now here you are, and you don't look like anybody who would have been dead in their car a year ago. And what is going on with you? And that literally opened the door. Me in my safety net, allowing myself to be vulnerable, like opened up doors I never imagined possible. And this one celebrity that I grew up watching approached me after that and called me by name. He knew my name before we ever even spoke. And that was revolutionary to me. And I was like, okay, so maybe I can do something.
Yes.
If I'm being acknowledged by the people that I have spent my whole life watching, this is big. I can do something with this. And I started planting my roots. And now here we are.
Okay. We're going to do more of this.
Okay.
But closing out, I would like to know 2 things I want you to do. I want you to tell people that it is hopeful for women in cars that we can do. I want you to encourage people to get involved with us. And then I want you to take a minute or so to do that. And then I want you to give a shout out with what you've gone through, the crucible that you've gone through. What can you say to people who are listening to you and who care about women in the car? Is there hope? Should we give up? Should we try or not?
I think everybody should try, and I'm going to face this directly to the camera. I don't think you should ever give up. If you don't know where to go, ask. If you're scared to ask, go find a safe place. Find me. I'm outside all the time. Come stop me, ask me questions, okay? I will provide resources. I will do whatever you need to help you change your life the way that I've changed my life. About a year and a half ago, I was a hopeless drug addict living in my car, making awful choices, selfish, not feeling any sense of security anywhere. I was alone. I had nobody. I had no family, no friends, no anybody near me. I had just a stack of trauma from my whole life that I was carrying and weighed down. And it was due to other people and other people's experiences that helped me continue going. Melina May, if y'all don't know her, go look her up. She was homeless herself, and it's just more proof that it's not hopeless. I understand the fear of reaching out for help because you are in your car, you are by yourself, you are a woman, you are vulnerable, but not everybody's out to hurt you. There are people out there who want to help, who want to see you do good. And for those that want to help but don't know where to begin, you just go out, find someone, sit down and talk with them. A lot of these people that are out there, a lot of these women that are living in their cars, they're fearful because they're judged so harshly. They're fearful because we as women are supposed to be mothering and have that instinct to take care of ourselves, take care of our husbands, take care of our children. And sometimes we don't have those resources, you know, and everybody out here has a resource that the next person doesn't have. Go out there, go share it, go get involved with the community. There's so many nonprofits you can get involved with. There's so many businesses that are working with these nonprofits that you can get involved with. There's many things you can do. You can start by doing the small things like we did. When we started the outreach, we started with clothes, we started with hygiene products. Now we have donations from members of the community that are restaurant owners and not just civilians. You know, we have grown in the last not even year so much, and it is literally just from going out there and asking. All you got to do is ask questions. If you need another way to help, you can go and support our GoFundMe page. It's called Preventing Women from Sidewalk, Homelessness, and Isolation. You can go on there, you can donate whatever you wish to donate. I fully support the cause and everything that we are trying to work for. And if you don't know where to begin, that's a good place to begin.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Angie. What's that name, Angie? You told us earlier off camera. Tell everybody what Angie means.
So my full name, Angela Renee, means angel of peace. So let's bring some peace in this world.
Thank you so much, Angie. We're gonna do this some more.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I love doing this. I love being able to be a part of something that can very well change lives.